Hey, what's going on, guys? Chris Altamirano here, and I just want to share a quick story with you about how I had to go to jury duty this morning. I had just gotten something in the mail, and I had been in Southern California for a while. I was in Laguna Beach at first, beautiful little town, definitely somewhere I'd like to move soon. Warm water, warm beaches, and stuff. And then I headed down to San Diego, and yeah, and then made my way back up to Central California where I live, and I checked the mail, or actually it's just something that's laying on the counter, and there it is, boom, it's all jury summons, and but it's actually the second letter that you get in California. I'm not sure what state you're watching this from, but where I live in California, you get one letter and it's like green, and then the second letter you get is if you didn't call that little jury thing or go to your little jury summons, and so they send you an extra letter. Kind of looks like a little warning, but I told my dad about it, and he was just like, "You're gonna get arrested, son," and it was just really funny. So, anyways, I wake up in the morning, which is new for me, and I actually go down to the courthouse. And when I'm in the courthouse, we're just going through like this practical stuff, right? It's just like if you remember, like if you ever went to like assemblies and stuff, they're just like, "Please sit," just everybody stand up. It was so boring, right? And I honestly felt like it was just the biggest waste of time. But democracy and the judicial system within itself, completely different topic. But anyways, I handled my jury duty stuff, and they called out a bunch of names. There were about 200 people in the room, so they had called out a bunch of names. And I was just like, man, like I wonder if these people are going to be the ones that get to go home, because I'd asked the lady when I checked in, and she's like, oh yeah, you could potentially be here till 5 p.m. I was like, and I had gotten there at 8:15 a.m. guys, like this is ridiculous, right? So the entire thing takes place. She takes roll and everything, and we're there for like 3 hours, right? And then finally, she asked that group of people that she named off to leave, and now there were about half of us left in the room. And at that point, the guy next to me, he apparently he's done this before. He said that either they're gonna let us go or they're gonna keep us again and tell us to come back later, and the other people just get to go home. But the lady said, "You guys get to leave," and I was like, "Yes, freedom!" And so I was so happy, right? I was just like really happy to have gotten it taken care of, and I felt responsible, right? I felt really good about myself. But here's where the story gets really sweet, right? And it's kind of bittersweet, right? Because it's a psychological shift in your mindset, right? And I really want you to focus right now, okay? Because what I'm about to tell you is totally a mindset toxin, right? So after I had gotten out of the jury duty room, I was walking. I was waiting for my buddy to get done. I let him borrow my car, and he went and ran some errands, and he came back. He was going to pick me up, and I saw a guy there in a tent, right? And right behind him, he had a blue tarp, and it appeared that he had shopping carts in it, right? And so the man appeared to be homeless. Now, I don't know what the man's financial situations were, where he came from. I believe that everybody has a story of where they are right now, and that series of events and circumstances had led them to that point, and of course decisions. And he had a sign, and he was under this blue little tent, and his little shopping carts under the blue tarp were right behind him, and it said "Occupy Fresno." And so the first thing that popped in my mind was, okay, well, this definitely has something to do with the financial crisis and the stock market plummeting and stock markets and Wall Street. And so I went up and I sat with him, had a little conversation with him, and immediately everything was just pouring out of this guy. I mean, this guy was so passionate about what he was talking about that you saw it in his eyes. Like when somebody really means something, like they pierce your soul, like they just have this piercing look of just absolute just certainty and just like so much conviction with what it is they're talking about. And so he was telling me how all about the financial crisis, and explaining to me more about what the Occupy movement was about. And the entire time he was telling me this, it was like this, right? It's like it's like me filming this YouTube video right now, but if I didn't know how to upload it, I would blame YouTube. You know what I mean? I would blame the engineers behind the people that created YouTube. If I didn't know how to, get out of a certain situation, I would point the finger at somebody, right? The point that I'm trying to make is, it seemed as if everything he was telling me was some form of selfishness. He was so about me, 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 and he just kept talking about pointing the finger at somebody else for the problems, and these bankers, and and then this is the way it is because of this person, and I don't have this because of them, and he was just looking for every little outlet to why his life was how it was. And this was the point that I kind of just started to lose more attention, because when you talk about your limitations, I'm not going to give you my attention. Les Brown said he was on a phone call once. Les Brown is a motivational speaker. He said he was on a phone call once with a friend who potentially was a mentor to him, and he just kept hammering his friend with all his problems, just blah, 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 just hammering away, right? His friend hung up the phone. Les Brown calls him back and says, "Hey, man, you hung up on me. Like, we lost the connection. What happened?" His friend says, "You argued for your limitations. You get to keep them." And I thought that was so powerful. And so that's exactly what was happening when I was talking to this guy who wanted to be a part of this movement, right? But when I looked at it, the guy was homeless, and he just happened to get a tent and get some stuff together, and wanted to be you want to feel like you're a part of something. But his mindset was so polluted with just toxins that it wasn't even good, because he just kept blaming, he kept arguing for his limitations toward me, and I got up and made an excuse and said, "Oh, I have to go look for my friend." And I didn't want to spend my time with someone in that mindset. Although I can understand where he's coming from and like the perspective that he's looking at things from. But the entire point of this video and why I shared this story was just to share some information and some knowledge with you about your mindset, right? Because he can take a different perspective on life, and you can take a different perspective on life and say, "You know what, my life is how it is, because of yes, circumstances and events, and maybe you have a job, maybe you get fired, right? But the external world is a direct reflection of your internal world, right? It all starts with the internal game. And you really got to turn that internal game on. You got to just, turn that fire on and say, "You know what? Enough. It's not going to be this way. I know that things are how they are," right? You have to take that approach and just look at the world and whatever is happening as it is, but don't look at it as anything more than that. And then you have to just make a decision that you want to change your life. And that it really just starts up here, guys. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? That this gentleman has the opportunity, just like you have the opportunity, to change your mindset right here, to switch that internal game on and say, "You know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." And I could see it in that guy's eyes. And if you're watching this right now and you've stuck with me this far, I can probably bet that you're looking at me right now and you're thinking the same exact thing. Wow, I never looked at it that way. And so all I'm really trying to do, guys, and I'm gonna close with this message, is that I just wanted to inspire possibility of what's possible, because anything and everything that you want to be, do, and have in your life is possible. And if you want to get to know me more and about what I do, my name is Chris Altamirano. There's a link right below this page to my Facebook, and just ask me, say what's up, message me, say, "Hey Chris, I saw your video," and we'll connect, right? But it's gonna start with that mindset shift, all right? Chris Altamirano here. Thanks for watching. Click the link below, shoot me a message, let's connect, all right? Thanks for watching.